మేడం కి ఫ్లైట్ ఉంది. చాలా మంది సీనియర్ జర్నలిస్ట్ వచ్చారు. టోమీ గారు వచ్చారు, ఆశా గారు వచ్చారు, గంట విజయ్ కుమార్ గారు, వార్తా చాలా మంది ప్రత్యేకంగా శంకరారం గారు. Apart from that, I would just like to say that what we are facing today in this country has the Jantar Mantar movement that we witnessed in the past few months and the state repression that followed after it, and then the government's utter humiliation is what has become the norm after the movement. The fact that students are asking for nothing but the removal of a minister who has, with every exam, proven that he is incapable of being the education minister. One paper leak after another, one mismanagement of examinations after another, he had shown that he has no interest in actually serving the people, serving the students of this country. Instead, his primary job would always be being the election manager for the BJP. And perhaps that is why also it was such a huge deal that we were asking for his resignation. When we sat down on protest, it's not that we did not think that he might resign. We did, but even that was done in the form of jokes, in the form of satire. We never really dreamed the amount of humiliation that the BJP would face, the pressing down that several of their ministers would face as a result of this movement. As the days of the hunger strike went by, it became more and more clear that the age-old aspect of self-sacrifice and sacrificing your own body and well-being for the welfare of others. So when we were sitting on hunger strike, parents, young students, school students, old people, everybody would come. They would sit with us for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. They would talk to us. And as we crossed the 6-day, 7-day mark of our hunger strike, people started becoming very serious about what was happening. They started coming to us, and that entire process where these people, common people, would come down and express their utter embarrassment at the fact that we were wasting away, we were sitting hungry for 10 days, 11 days, 20, 12 days, and so on. Because it was them who had chosen the BJP, who had voted the BJP to power in the past few years. And it was this process, right? Feel like this hunger strike was not just about sacrifice. It was not about, oh, we will sit here and we will appeal to the consciousness of the government. It was about the fact that we will appeal to the consciousness of the common people. Because if it is truly a democracy, as envisioned by our ancestors, the true power of what happens in this country should lie with the people, right? So it only makes sense that we would appeal to the people. And as we appeal to the people and ask them to really see, look beyond the facade that the BJP had created in such a long time, the facade that the RSS had in coordination with other constituents who are responsible for taking the exam or who have been affected by it. Right now, even if there is a small amount of mismanagement, there is mass copying or there is a notification which has been violated and then taken back. If this is happening, then there must be an inquiry in all of this. There must be a free and fair inquiry in all of this. But at the same time, the extent to which this mismanagement goes is still unclear to all of us. Even the students were telling us that these are speculations that they have. Otherwise, why would there be no CCTV footage of the examination centers that they are saying mass copying is happening? Why was there a notification which later withdrew the previous notification? So this is the understanding. Students are saying that we are facing mismanagement. It does not suit the government to again and again say that the previous government did this corruption so many years back, you are very clearly exposing that you're only worried about your political opponents and not really about the people. Where did the previous government's mismanagement or corruption from so many years back come from? And we don't start electoral democracy. We have certain regard for electoral democracy. The very policies which govern our universities and colleges, they have been passed, made, written down by members of the government, the current government. The NEP, which systematizes the privatization of our institutions, which systematizes the centralization of everything, be it examination or the control and autonomy of our universities, is being taken away and deposited in the hands of the central government. All of this has been systematized, institutionalized by this very NEP. So when we say we want an immediate rollback of the NEP and a complete rollback of the NEP, it is the government that we continue to target. When we continuously reassert that NP has to be scrapped, and because the people who are appointed in internal committees inside the NPA, when paper leaks happen, they are found to be responsible. From Manisha Maghare to PV Kulkarni, both of them were members of the internal committee of the NPA for the NEET examination. And when investigation happened, both of them were responsible for paper leak. And then we find more members, including Manisha Maghare, including Dinesh Gunal, who are members of the Bharatiya Yuva Janata Morcha, and they have been responsible for paper leak. So, agencies like the NTA, private agencies like the NTA, which one have an arbitrary way of electing members in a committee, and when investigation happens, those very arbitrarily elected members are one responsible for paper leak and two members of the Bharatiya Yuva Janata Morcha or affiliated with some other subsidiaries of the RSS. So when we talk about NPA, when we talk about NEP, we are directly targeting the government. We're holding the government responsible, and our plan of action is to do precisely what we are doing now, and that is to go to student protests, student struggles, sites of student struggle. They fight for their issues, and we fight alongside them. We extend solidarity, we extend all forms of support, so that there is an organized network of students across the country, and we can fight once again. We can set up, we can establish a mass movement for not just the resignation of an education minister, but for the complete upheaval of the current education system, as well as a complete upheaval of the kind of politics that goes on in our country. And in the past, I think next 5 or 10 years, I will be exactly here where I am right now, in the middle of politics, talking, asking questions to power, and trying and imagining and working for a better world. After that, people got really angry. They came to Jantar Mantar, and on the 20th, there are easily anywhere near 2 to 3 lakh people in around Jantar Mantar who were there for the Parliament March. And what India witnessed and the world witnessed, in fact, on 20th of July was nothing short of horrendous. The firing of pellet guns in the middle of the capital of a country at unarmed protesters and claiming that it was done to disperse protesters is nothing but shameful. To embed nails in your lathis and rain them down upon protesters is nothing short of horrendous. All of this crackdown that we witnessed on 20th of July, they thought that they would break the movement because of it. But to their utter surprise, the movement only got stronger. More people came in, and now the anger turned not towards Dharmendra Pradhan, but towards the Prime Minister and towards the Home Minister. And the government now realized that it would not just be Dharmendra Pradhan who would be receiving so much heat. In fact, they would, the entire movement would shift towards demanding their accountability and resignation. And that is why Dharmendra Pradhan had to tender his resignation. But as this government is a government of vengeance, a government of revenge, they went for the protesters. After the protests were over, despite promises of no action against protesters, they went after students, they went after 15-year-old school students, they went after women protesters, they went after Muslim protesters, They went after Dalit protesters in Bihar. An AK-47 was fired in Siwan in Bihar. All of this revealed how truly vulgar the face of the Indian state has become. That was fought back by the people, and what remains to be done now is that the anger that still remains in our hearts and minds, that anger has now to be channelized into demanding that it will not be just one minister whose resignation is going to erect this system anew. It will not be the resignation of one minister, one cabinet minister, which is going to help us live in a system, create a system that we are truly comfortable with, happy and satisfied with. What remains to be done is the complete extraction of this ideology and politics of hate, this politics of division, a complete extraction of their politics from the soil of this country, because the soil of this country has been nurtured by the sacrifices of our freedom fighters who argued that this country would be built on secular ideals, on socialist ideals. It would be a democracy where people in power would be accountable to the people. And the present regime and its ideology, the present regime and its politics is completely incompatible with the history of the foundation of this country, and that is why they have to go. We have to extract them root to stem from the soil of this country. Thank you. I think electoral democracy has a role to play in this country, and therefore, if I mean today I am part of this mass movement and part of a student organization because that is the purpose I can serve in the larger movement of I don't know, making this country anew. If in the coming times I'm required to enter into electoral democracy, it's completely fine. To see that won us the resignation of the education minister. It was not electoral democracy that won us the rollback of the three farm laws. It was not electoral democracy that won us an 8-hour working day. So all of the major changes, a majority of the major changes that we see in our country and that we take for granted right now as our fundamental right, they have been won through the mass movements of the people. And that is why electoral democracy is only but a part of the larger movement in which students and in fact citizens have to unite in making this country anew. But of course, if I am required to venture in that direction, take our struggles and strengthen the struggle, people's struggle in that direction, then we have no problem. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.